Hey friends, Megan McIntosh here. Welcome to this video. I am excited to speak to you about something a little bit different today, a little bit mindset oriented. I was speaking with my friend on the phone the other day, and actually I talk to her on the phone every day. Morag, you know who you are. And she said, I miss your mindset videos. I want to have, see your mindset videos. Because she doesn't run her own business, but she's a friend of mine. And she listened to my lives when I talk about mindset. So she said, can you do some mindset? So I'm going to talk about mindset today, especially with the holidays. Do you like my holiday shirt? I'm getting into it. It's not even December yet, and I'm wearing a holiday funky shirt. Yeah, that's it. I'm getting them out. So she is saying, you need to do more mindset videos. I love watching that kind of content, and because it's really inspiring and you can put it into daily life. So I'm going to talk about expectations, boundaries, and tolerations. What do you tolerate within your life, your business, your relationships, all that fun stuff. So hopefully you are going to watch this way through and you are here live. If you're live, say hi. Drop a 1 down below if you're watching right now. If you are watching the replay, please say hi too. You can drop a 2 down below, or you can also do #replay. Where are you coming in from? Let me know. Give me some comments. Let me know. Where do you live? What country? I know we have, oh my gosh, we've been talking about COVID almost 2 years now. March 2022 will be 2 years, which is nuts. And we've got another variant on the rise, getting out there. So yeah, that's all the rage. Everyone's talking about it. And it's all in the news, and it can be overwhelming. I remember last year in November, I think was a hard time for me. Not too hard. I think the hardest time of the pandemic was January 2021, because I thought, oh, it's a new year, it's gonna be over, and then it wasn't. And I think it was the first 2 weeks of January I had a hard time. I was like, oh, this is hard. And I want you and all of us, including myself, to know that it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to feel like, oh, here we go again. But also, it's okay to feel happy, and it's okay to feel excited for the holidays. So you're gonna have a lot of different emotions on a daily basis during this time of year, as well as with COVID still coming around, not knowing what's going to happen with the variant, and also with your business, right? What's going to happen? And I always find that the best way to deal with any type of uncertainty and instability is managing your mind. And mindset work is something that I do every single day, and hopefully you do too. But if you don't, that's okay. I'm going to give you some ideas of what to do. And it's a way to really understand you, the way you behave, your disciplines, your habits, maybe some bad habits, some good habits, some things that you trip over in terms of blocking you or keep you procrastinating. There's so many things, right? We are all humans. None of us are perfect. And what that means is that our human brain, which is trying to keep us alive and happy and have things easy for us, doesn't like it when we change course. Doesn't always like it when we try new things, or when we make decisions where it's scary, the next thing that we have to do. And so our mind is always there to keep us safe, which is great in the olden days, right? When we had predators after us, but nowadays it keeps us a little bit too safe. And so I think one of the things that you have to remind yourself on a daily basis is that what your brain does. So never to beat yourself up if you go into one of your maybe predictable mindset habits, right? If you go in, whatever yours is, right? Everybody is a little bit different in terms of the way their brain is trying to protect them. And some of this kind of thing can happen from childhood, right? Childhood trauma, things that happen to make our emotions and ourselves feel better. And I think that it's always reminding ourselves this, always acknowledging that our brain is very primitive, and that it's doing things to make us safe, and it's doing things that it remembered from childhood that kept us safe during childhood in any type of situation we had, and it continues to do that. So if you can always know that every single day, So number one, that means that you can stop beating yourself up. If you, for some reason, are like, oh, I'm so lazy today, I'm procrastinating today, or you're feeling like you're a perfectionist, or some of your bad habits are coming out, it's okay. And the thing is never beat yourself up if you get into those kind of situations, but at the same time, always acknowledging that I do have some things that I'm going to tend towards. I'm going to tend towards acting certain ways, right? Everybody has different ways that they might have tendencies to that aren't really productive, right? You may have a tendency to get angry. You may have a tendency to bolt. You may have a tendency to flight, right? Fight or flight. You may have a tendency to, I don't know, not communicate with other people or just go silent. Everybody has tendencies, and hopefully you have been able, like if you haven't done it already, try to start figuring out your tendencies. This is something that I do on a regular basis. Is I'm very aware of the areas that I tend to, what I do, right? What I do when something's hard for me, what I do when something's new, what I do in a stressful situation. And I didn't always look at these things. I didn't always look at my tendencies. I just went with them without really actually seeing, why do I do these things, right? Oh, I'm noticing I'm doing that again, that pattern, that's not really helpful to me. And so if it's like awareness is the first thing you can do, is so if you can start saying, actually, I don't really look at my tendencies, I don't notice these traits that I do, I just do them, and because love me or hate me, this is who I am, take it or leave it, right? Fine. I mean, I know a lot of people might be like, I'm a certain age, take it or leave it, I can't change. But that's actually incorrect. You can change if you make an effort towards it, and you can change if you start seeing, what are things that I'm doing that I don't really like that I'm doing, and I want to switch them over. And if you want to, get off this live and say, I don't want to change, I'm like happy with who I am, great. And I'm not saying that you can't be happy with who you are. I am saying be happy with who you are. Don't beat yourself up around who you are and the tendencies that you may do that aren't really productive. But also say, actually, I want to know myself so well that I can start switching these tendencies and breaking the patterns and breaking the habits and breaking those things that I learned when I was a kid that don't serve me anymore. And so I think this is something that it takes a lot of work to do, and it takes a lot of awareness to do. So for instance, I have so many things that I do when something gets hard. Okay, so for instance, in my business, I often like to start new projects, and I've mentioned this many, many times, but I don't like to finish them. Right? I love to start. I love to have these visionary ideas, but then sometimes the going gets tough. Sometimes it's not easy. Right now I'm creating, I have a few projects on the go. I have this course that I'm putting together. I have these new sales pages that I'm creating. So the content for the sales pages, because I like to write my content, and I know I want to do these pages, and I know I want to do this course, but every once in a while I'll be working on it and be like, oh, I'm so bored of doing this, I don't want to write this copy, it's taking me forever to write this copy, and how should I write this, and how should I do it? Which is fine, and I'll notice myself doing that, but instead of giving up on the project, for me, okay, maybe now you worked on it an hour, go to another project or take a break, right? There's so many things you could do. So I started to learn my tendencies, and what that meant is when I started seeing myself procrastinating, if I was getting bored of writing or writing copy and I wasn't feeling the project anymore and the energy of it at that period of time when I was working, and I was noticing I was procrastinating, I would say, it's okay, take a break, procrastinate for a little bit, go back to it, right? Rather than doing the project and then just giving up on it completely. So I started training myself, which you can do, to see what do I tend to do? What do I do in my life, right? That's just in work, right? Now, there are other areas of your life that you also might have specific tendencies around that are not productive. And it's starting to look at different areas of your life, I was just doing like a little robot. thing. But if you start looking at different areas of your life and say, what are those tendencies? So even in your relationships, right? Your friendships, your love relationships, what are things you do? Like I 100% know my tendencies in my love relationships that are not good. And the things that I get lazy on and the things that I do that me and my partner talk about because it's just a tendencies of mine, right? And so I consistently go like, oh, there I'm doing it again, right? And so if I want to make my life and my partner's life better, I have to watch those tendencies and be aware of them, okay? So what else did I want to talk about? Expectations. So this is a huge thing specifically for working with clients when you yourself have big expectations of yourself, maybe in friendships, in any type of relationship you're going to have expectations, right? And it's something where I really try and make sure that I watch my expectations. What am I expecting of people? What am I expecting of my clients? What am I expecting of myself? And knowing that sometimes we are going to have such high expectations that aren't going to be met by other people to us, or that sometimes we are, promising too much because we think, oh, I'm going to do all these different things, but we really can't within the time that we give to people. So managing your own expectations, managing of other people, managing your expectations of your clients, managing your expectations of the actual work that you can do in a day, right? How many projects you can literally work on, like manage those expectations and don't overextend yourself because that leads to burnout. So with friendships, that's one thing, and business relationships is knowing that you are human and they are human. So there's going to be times when your clients or your friends are acting a specific way because of their humanness, right? Because of their tendencies, because of the way they were brought up, because of the issues that they have, just like you. And so if you can constantly put that hat on of understanding, why is this person acting this way? Why is this person not getting the work done? Or why is this person, thinking this way or acting towards me like this or way? Knowing that there's other things deeper underneath the surface for reasons for why these things happen. And if you can not just lower your expectations of that, but maybe have the expectations of them being human. So it's not necessarily like lowering your expectations of what you deserve or what you desire, right? I think it's really important to continue to have expectations of worthiness for yourself and desiring specific things and having specific boundaries so that you're not basically people pleasing and having someone bulldozer you, right? And get whatever they want done. But having expectations of knowing that they're human and sometimes they're going to act like a human and hurt you or do things that you question or you wonder. And so before they hurt you, you can actually say, what is going on here? And be that detective of that person and be that detective of your client. Okay, so we talked about expectations. Let me just see if I have my, I wanted to find out if I know the title, but I don't know. So talking about boundaries is another thing. I think I had expectations, boundaries. I don't remember the other words I had on here, so we're just going to go with it. We're just going to go with the flow, whatever I come up with. All right, the other thing is boundaries. Now, this is very easy to say, but harder to do, is knowing your boundaries. Knowing your boundaries in life, knowing your boundaries in your business. What are your cutoff times? Because you're going to drain your energy if your boundaries are like spread out and super wide. So just being aware of your boundaries, being aware of, hey, if I'm going to take a Voxer, right? In my business, I do coaching and I do Voxer calls with people. What are the times that I'm going to have people on Voxer, right? Not during the weekends. But sometimes you might make exceptions. Maybe you change your boundaries. It's really, why did you put those boundaries in place? So really upfront, giving the expectations to your clients in advance and telling them what your boundaries are, that's going to make them feel more supported than if you don't tell them your boundaries and tell them, things that your expectations, and then them being disappointed. So I think that's such a big thing. Let me just see if I don't know if I have my laptop in front of me, but I don't know if it's dying or if it's dead because it's not really turning on. But, oh, here we go. I can turn it on. Yay. I want to just see something else really quick. By the way, if you have any comments, feel free to drop them down below and let me know what you're thinking so far. Has this helped you a little bit in terms of the way you think, in terms of the way you have expectations? Let me know. What do you do? How do you create? What are kind of things that you think about when it comes to mindset that helps you let me see here, in your life? Okay, here we go. What is it? Okay, expectations, boundaries, and tolerations. Okay, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about, is tolerations. So this is a little bit different than boundaries and expectations. Tolerations, I guess in a sense, is about what are you going to tolerate. So there comes a time when maybe your boundaries get pushed, or you start people pleasing, or you start accepting things that aren't really desirous of the outcome that you want in your life and in your business. And it's understanding what we're going to tolerate and what we don't tolerate that's going to help you feel better in your life and in your mindset. Because what that means is you will know where the line is drawn. You will know what is important to you, what you value, and you'll also know that's it. Like, this is the cutoff point. If I'm not sticking to these tolerations, and if I'm tolerating too much, I'm going to swing to this side. And so I think it's really important to think about, what are you tolerating? What are the things in your life that you're tolerating that maybe you shouldn't tolerate? That maybe you should have higher expectations for? And knowing those things and writing them down. And maybe right now you're tolerating them because you're in a situation that you have no choice but to tolerate them, right? But can you create a vision for yourself where you have expectations for yourself, that is a life that you desire to live, where you're only tolerating certain things that are going to light you up? And I think we don't really think about tolerations because there's so many things in our life that can happen, and we think, well, I'm a pretty lucky person and life is good to me and I'm good with what I have. But when you err on the side of I'm good with whatever and I'm good with what I have, then what happens is you're not in a growth mindset. And so when you start looking at, what am I tolerating now that I shouldn't be tolerating? That's when you start doing the work of really elevating yourself and elevating your situation and stature in your life. And it's hard, right? It's hard because we're so used to tolerating specific things in our life, and sometimes it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go of relationships. It's hard to let go of situations. And it's hard to let go of clients, right? If we're having a client that is really intolerable, where we feel like, oh my God, I'm drained. Whenever we get on the call, they're not accepting my coaching. It feels like, well, I have to go on everything they say and their whims. No. You're allowed to call in your dream clients who light you up on calls. I know that in the beginning of my business, there were a couple clients where I called in that weren't really a good fit. But as I really started knowing who are the people I want to attract and who are the type of people I want to work with, that's when it made my business and my coaching so fun, because I just felt like, is this even a job? Right? How do I get to do this? I get to talk with the most amazing people, and it's enjoyable, and we get lit up from each other. We're learning from each other. That is the magic and the beauty of coaching. And so I started seeing what was I tolerating in the type of coaching relationships I have, but this can be in any type of relationship that you have. So that's all I have for today, just some mindset thoughts here. I also wanted to share with you that I have something new coming around, and I'm working on the sales page, but you can actually message me anyway in advance. And I have these brand new intensives. So intensives is an opportunity to work with me to kind of test out long-term coaching. I do long-term coaching one-on-one 6 months. But I also have intensives where we can work on an area of your business. So I have a really cool way that I'm doing this. And let me just get my piece of paper so I can read off of it. I have a really cool way of doing this that I was doing a sales strategy intensive, but I felt like I was over giving, and I felt like the sales strategy the sales strategy intensive was like too much information. And so what I've done is I've really curated and split up my sales intensive, because I felt that it would make it easier for people to really go through the content and go through the work. So what I do with people is what we do to start out with coaching in any area. Like if you do an intensive or if you do a 6-month program with me one-on-one, I start with looking at the areas of your business. And in one-on-one for 6 months, we can usually go through all these different areas. But with an intensive, what I'm going to do is I go through the areas in your business, and then we decide what area we want to narrow in on. Because in an intensive, it's a quick period of time to work with me, and we can't get it all done. So here are the areas of my business and your business as well that I really focus on and nailing these areas. So the first one is mindset and energy. The second one is business growth and foundations. The third one is brand strategy. The fourth one is marketing, and the fifth one is sales. So within those areas, I have intensives that cover those areas, and you can choose what is the area you want to focus in on. So for instance, if you want to focus in on sales, instead of just having like a huge broad sales strategy, I'm doing an intensive specifically focused on sales skills. So one of them is on powerful prospecting. So how do you do outreach? How do you engage with people? How do you do that element of bringing people to you, right? So marketing is that idea. Marketing is more passive, right? You're putting out the content and you're getting people to hear about you through your content. Whereas sales is something that I've done in my whole career, is really the idea of really narrowing in who do I want to reach out to, and how can I do that in a non-sleazy, salesy way. And so the power of prospecting, like the powerful prospecting intensive that I'm offering, is literally on that. It's going to be all focused on prospecting. Focused literally on outreach. Focused on how do you write captivating messages to people? How do you engage with people on their posts? And how do you really create the 2-prong system? But you're going to be focusing on the 1 prong, right? So the marketing and the sales. But how do you do the prospecting? How do you go out there, right? When you need a sale or you want to build those relationships, how do you keep building those relationships? How do you build those long-term relationships? So the way I do prospecting, it isn't about I'm gonna reach out to someone today and get the sale tomorrow. It really is in cultivating strong relationships with them through prospecting and meeting people and engaging with them and creating that relationship with them. But a lot of people are too afraid because they're so sold on sales being about that fast sale and ew, it's so gross to reach out to people. It's not how you should be prospecting. I learned how to prospect in a way that I built long-term relationships with people over time. And if you're not doing that, if you're not building relationships over time, if you're not cultivating relationships and meeting new people and networking, it's really going to be hard for you to build trust. Now, you can build trust with your content, but if you're adding the powerful prospecting to your content creation and doing it in a way that feels good, doing it in a way that's authentic and thoughtful and feeling just like lit up in terms of I'm going to reach out to people, but in a way that is not like, hey, you want to buy something today? You will absolutely adore it. So I'm doing I have an intensive called Powerful Prospecting Intensive, which is focused solely on that. How do you reach out to people? How do you network people? How do you engage with people? How do you build relationships in a way that feels good? Now, the other intensive that I'm doing that's around sales is literally on this soulful sales call. So that's just what it's covering. It's just about the sales call. So how do you convert on the sales call? What do you say on a sales call? How to individualize a sales call? So that is how I'm separating my sales intensives, because I really believe with a sales intensive, it's a deep dive. And if I do too much broad information, it's not going to be the same. So I just thought, how can I do this? The best way is to have a sales intensive on powerful prospecting as well as on soulful sales calls. So that's what I'm doing, and I have a couple other intensives too that I'm going to be launching. But I just wanted to talk about the sales ones first off, because that's my jam. That's my favorite thing. I'm going to also have a content one that's about creating captivating content and marketing. That's going to be a one. And then there's other ones that you can do. But really, how we determine what intensive is right for you, or if you want to do the long-term coaching, what is right for you, we really narrow in on those 5 areas of your business and decide what is the area that you're maybe weak in, or you haven't really nailed out the system or the process for your business. So in the area of mindset and energy, the area in business growth and foundation, brand strategy, marketing, and sales. So those are the areas and so how it works is I have a questionnaire before we get on the phone in anytime we do coaching. And then we decide what is the area that you need to work on. Or maybe it's all areas. If it's all areas and you do the 6-month coaching, if you really just want to hammer in on a couple areas, then we can do the intensives. So if you're interested in that, definitely send me a message. I would love to hear from you, and you can get on a call with me, a thoughtful sales strategy call, just to find out, hey, can you tell me more about this? I want to learn more about these intensives. I want to learn more about your 6-month coaching package. How does this work? I am sort of intrigued about working with you. Don't worry, I don't bite. It's a free call to get on with me first before we even get into any of this. And then after the free call, then I do the deep dive in terms of looking at your business kind of from a bird's eye to figure out what is the area in your business that we need to work on. And then we decide, should we do an intensive together on a specific topic, or do we do the long-term coaching? So it's something that I'm really excited about. I know you're gonna love it because it's so clear. It's such a clear way to work together, and I would love to work with you if you're interested. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you soon on the next live, and definitely down below in the comments. All right, bye.